Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about which Batman villains I think deserve more screen time. What I mean by screen time is more media about them, whether it be video games, movies, shows, etc. Just villains I think deserve more attention than they're given. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, I'm going to be starting off with the villain I think is more commonly brought up by Arkham fans when discussing this specific topic, Scarecrow. Scarecrow is just a really unique character and is very intriguing. He pulls you in from just the visuals alone. His design is scary and unsettling, and I'm talking about almost every single look, not necessarily just how he looks in the Arkham series. I just think Crane could have such a cool story in like a live action movie or something. I know we see some of him in Batman Begins and very slightly in Batman The Dark Knight, and Cillian Murphy did a really good job playing Scarecrow. I just don't think he was done justice. I know there's some speculation of Scarecrow being in Matt Reeves' next Batman movie because of some Easter eggs that were in the Penguin show, and if that turns out to be a reality, that would be really cool. I think there's great potential for a really good execution of his character. But yeah, I just want to see him a little bit more. The next villain I believe needs some more love is Hush. We get a really cool and memorable side mission for Hush in Arkham City. It used to scare me really bad when I played it as a kid. I remember being so creeped out by finding bodies in dark alleys with their heads wrapped in bandages. And hearing the news helicopters over the radio describe the bodies and where they were at and what they looked like was so chilling. We aren't going to mention Hush's side mission in Arkham Knight. That's a conversation for another video, okay? Because Thomas Elliot was Bruce Wayne's childhood friend, I feel like there can be a really good build-up in a future Batman movie, especially since Hush isn't a very well-known villain amongst non-DC fans or even casual Batman enjoyers. I just think that it would be a huge shocker to a lot of people that Bruce's childhood friend ends up being a literal identity theft and skins people's bodies all to spite Bruce. I don't know, he's just too cool to not have more of him in media. So there's this incredibly powerful and wealthy secret society that lives in Gotham City that's centuries old. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I am talking about the Court of Owls. I believe the Court of Owls would be a really cool thing to implement in future media. And actually, I think it would be really cool if they were specifically added to Matt Reeves' next Batman movie or even the third one. With Bella Real being so insisting of fighting the corruption of Gotham, especially in politics, I think there could be a very interesting plot there if the Court of Owls got involved, if you know what I mean. There's a couple of ways I think they could be executed. Bella Real could be a Court of Owls member herself or even a target of the Court of Owls. I think both could be cool, although I will say that it would be a little nice if Gotham had another person like Jim Gordon that actually is there to fight for the right reasons. Even though that is a lot to ask considering it is Gotham. In terms of the talons though, I feel like they would be really hard to be done well, so I don't know about that part. But I do think that if Matt Reeves were to add the court, it would totally take his franchise to the next level, just Batman in general to the next level. This one right here I think could be interesting, however I don't really have a concept of a story, but I think the Ventriloquist can make a great antagonist in the future. I think either Peyton Riley or Arnold Wesker could be the Ventriloquist. I do really like them both for the role, but I will say that I kind of favor Arnold taking that spot because of the contrast between him and Scarface is really interesting and slightly comical. Because Wesker is such a pathetic and pitiful dude, it makes you wonder how he could do the things he does. It makes you want to believe that the puppet is actually its own person. Personally, I think the whole mystery of whether or not it's Scarface that's actually controlling Arnold, or if it's his dissociative identity disorder that makes him channel his dark side and uses the puppet as an outlet for his secret aggression, is interesting enough. I feel like that can already grab people's attention from just that alone. But yeah, the Ventriloquist definitely needs more attention. A more obvious villain I want to add is Zsasz. I know Birds of Prey had Zsasz in it, but come on, that wasn't Zsasz. Just because he had some tiny little scars on his body and skinned some people's face off for Black Mask, they really went, yeah, this guy is Zsasz. I always like seeing different interpretations of characters because I like seeing people get creative, but this was not it. He needs to be scarier and darker, you know? I know there's some other things he's in, but I just want to see it on a larger scale. I also don't really have an idea of how he could be implemented into future content, but he needs to have more screen time for sure. I think Hugo Strange could make for a really great story because of his unique obsession with Batman. Most of Batman's enemies have an obsession with him, obviously, but Hugo's is different. Hugo Strange wanted to be the Bat because it would fulfill his need for total control and power. I mean, in the Arkham games, it was stated that Strange had his own Batman suit that he would wear. That's how obsessed he was with him. him. But he never became a hero himself because he just wanted to leverage Batman's reputation. He wanted to acquire ultimate authority as shown in Batman Arkham City with Protocol 10 and Arkham City itself. He was envious of what Batman had. There's just so much potential there and a lot of material to work with. I can't imagine someone not wanting to do something with it. I want to talk about Dollmaker, also known as Barton Mathis. This character is also one of the more darker ones in my opinion. His story is pretty insane. Now, if you don't know his story, I will try to summarize it to the best of my abilities. Basically, Barton used to go on these hunting trips with his dad, and his dad would kill and eat people in front of him. Barton actually saw his dad be shot by Jim Gordon, which later on left him to be put in foster care. He disappeared for a while and came back as his Dollmaker persona. Oh, and his mask? Yeah, that's made from his dead father's skin. He makes dolls out of his victims' arms, legs, and skin, all that fun stuff. I don't know, I just think he's super scary and should be in more Batman media. Also, I'm pretty sure he cuts off Joker's face at some point in time, but don't quote me on that. Something you can quote me on though is that I think Anarky should be in more content. He plays a more political type of role like how the Court of Owls do, however not quite as powerful as the Court, but he sees Gotham for what it is. Corrupt. I think it would be very interesting to see the clash of how Batman wants to clean up Gotham and how Anarky wants to clean up Gotham. It's very apparent that Lonnie is dissatisfied with how Batman does things and wants to take matters into his own hands. He's a very smart kid and I think that his upbringing and change of character could make for a good story and should be explored. Calendar Man is another character I think should get more representation. He has a very cool concept and it makes the people of Gotham not so excited for each holiday. Imagine not looking forward to having a day off from school or work because a man goes around killing people on holidays in gruesome and evil ways. His obsession with dates makes him really luring in my opinion. I just get a very dark and cold vibe when thinking about Calendar Man, especially knowing his lore. With the obsession and need to make things perfect, Professor Pig has so much potential for further adaptations of his character. I can see multiple ways his villain can be portrayed and given a story. I can see like a few sections in a movie, for example, of him running the Circus of Strange and even having the members have a little bit of screen time. Give him a little love, you know? I don't know, I'm not a freaking movie script writer or a show script writer, okay? All I know is that I want to see more Pig in the future, alright? He's just way too creepy and interesting to fly under the radar, you know? Alright, those are 10 Batman villains I think deserve more screen time. I had a lot of fun making this video and I hope you had fun watching it too. I would have spoken more in depth about more of the characters, I just didn't want the video to be super long. Also, feel free to comment your thoughts and which Batman villains you want to see more of in the future. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.